Hello and welcome. Hope you're all having a fine evening and are here to join us on another riveting episode of All Access. We will today try to have a look at our predictions and see how that is going and see if we're doing better than we are. I am joined already by Evie, and hopefully Phil will be joining in later if we are lucky. Hello, Evie.
Hello, how's everybody doing? And yeah, thanks for having me on again. It's always nice.
It's always a pleasure to have you here. So, let's see what we have going on of matches right now. Let's see, we can. I think we should have a look at the Prem West. Just because I reside there, I think this is probably an interesting match. So, yeah, it's been a while since we actually got to broadcast together. We were talking about that a little there, but it's been a hectical, at least for me, spring here, and it's good to have you back from your hiatus.
Yep, back from holiday, back from being sick, back from family issues, back from basically everything.
Oh, life is rough sometimes. Oh, I think this is a bit brave move of putting him here over here, but let's see what's going on here. It is probably been Andy who started with a half and then got a touchdown, and then now it's the second half, and Tapestry is holding on for guessing a draw since he's dragging out the time here, I would imagine.
I mean, this is the sort of position that you look at and you're like, yeah, if Tapestry's just going to go for the draw here, there's like, yeah, there's a bunch of Saurus missing.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, truly. There's not really much you can do about that. But I mean, Tapestry's given as good as they've got. It looks like though, so
Yeah.
it's basically just who's punching who. I don't think anybody realistically wants to go against like a higher team value Orcs, but I know I don't. But I guess if there's a team that's gonna be able to give it a bit of a go, it's highly developed lizards.
Oh yes. I think like as much as it's like it's the same odds of making removals, right? But it's just like if I look here, like these are not something you care about at all, removals. And if you look over here, like any Saurus missing on a Lizardman team, right, is a huge difference, right? So like being 3 Sauruses down versus, like, let's be fair, 2 Orcs you can probably do without. I think this is definitely if I was the Lizardman, where I would go for the draw, definitely. Only question is, can you actually drag this out a turn more? Oh. And another KO. Yeah. Realistically. Oh. 3 Orcs? No, I don't think you can do much at this point, really. Hello, Bombadil, and everyone else in chat. So, I think this is Tapestry going to be bold enough to do a delay one more turn here?
I don't think. Oh, I don't think so.
I like.
He needs to, but I don't think they're gonna. Like, I mean, what you need to like use the Saurus to 2D one of the. Yeah, you need to knock over one of the important ones.
Yeah. I think
I'll be honest. That's not exactly the important one I was thinking about. But I guess if you're gonna score, you probably want to try and get that one
yeah,
because you know the Orcs are going to be fouling on their drive.
yeah. No, I think for me when he did that blitz on that one, I was like, yeah, you're gonna go for the touchdown. Wow, 3 for 3 KOs. That might come in handy.
So, yeah, that will come definitely in handy.
Okay, so it's 4 Sauruses and a Crocs and some Skinks versus but I didn't ask the Orc team. Yeah, that's gonna be some long turns.
Are we watching Orcs win again? Hello, everybody, by the way.
Hello, Bill. Yes, we
You're
are
right, Bill.
looking at some more nasty Orcs here, doing their Orky thing.
I'm developing an irrational hatred of this race.
Well,
To the
here's the
point
thing
where
about irrational. It means that it should have no justification. I don't think it's irrational. It's definitely
if anybody
just.
wants to watch, if anyone, because I know Max is here, if anyone wants to again watch how not to play the Dark Elves, go and watch Andy Davo's stream from yesterday where he absolutely trounced me.
Oh. Yeah.
And if you want to watch someone do some of the most BS you've ever seen, you will watch my stream from today. I was doing orc. I did a crazy like orc bunch of dodges, and then massive like passing play, and then I also did with no rerolls a double. I pushed a goblin with frenzy twice and a 3+ dodge, and then managed to chain push. Managed to chain push Ripper onto the ball that was on the sideline and surf it. Beautiful stuff. I was absolutely farming clips today.
Is there anything that's not Orcs? Do we have to watch this? Do we have to watch Orcs?
I think they didn't see that this is actually an Orc mirror match. So I think of all things to be not watching.
I mean that's worse.
Yes.
Double the amount of orcs.
Yes.
There are.
We need some lower division games going on, right? Because surely lower divisions there's less orcs.
No, that's not true.
No.
Though Ironclaw against Loxam will be no Orcs.
No.
So I think that's Necro.
Necro humans.
Yeah.
Ichibakuto. Hello.
Well, let's see. Just saw it. So. Oh, 2 baby wolves. And a star.
Loxham's an interesting player because I think when I played some last season, I played them in 2 seasons in a row. I played them early on in my first season, and got the win. And I was like, okay, that was reasonable. Completely forgot about how I won in any capacity. And then faced them again the next season. And then I was like, oh right, yeah, I remember how this person plays now. They love the bash. They love the bash. They can't help the bash.
Yeah.
And that works perfectly in my favor when I was playing Skaven and I did not want to bash. It was fine because they'd just go and like try and kill all my linemen, but my linemen were the ones that didn't have any skills. Ooh.
And a brave loner roll there.
I'm not sure I would have bothered.
That ogre got brawler, defensive, and guard.
That's actually quite nasty.
That is a nasty player. Don't like that at all.
Do you know what I was going to talk about this evening? I watched, for anyone who hasn't, please go and listen to the New Dice Please podcast. So the New Dice Please podcast, they're a group of guys from my neck of the woods, so sort of Ipswich way.
Yeah.
And they had BB Nut on with them, I think, for their latest episode. And he made a comment that I just totally agree with about this rule set, in the fact that because we've now got the ability to pick secondaries on just more star player points, every team is the same. Every team has an elf. Whereas in the previous rule set, it was luck if you managed to get it.
Yeah, I
So
agree
the
with
thing
that.
is, I agree with it, but it's also like, so this is the whole, like, this is like a multi-layered argument, and it also kind of ties into randoms too. So like, a lot of people, I think, like, in Blood Bowl 2, the builds were just cookie cutter unless you rolled a double, and then it was still cookie cutter, just in the best way if you got lucky, or sometimes you didn't even care about it. In Blood Bowl 3, teams are very much still cookie cutter, but now you can kind of just choose what you want. Um, and then on the whole randoms front is like, there's a big argument that said, people said we need randoms because it stops people from doing cookie cutter stuff, and it doesn't really, does it? It kind of just lets them do cookie cutter stuff a little bit cheaper.
Yeah. I think the problem is much more, like you said, it's much more nuanced, and like I think it also sort of boils down to the whole issue about, it doesn't make sense to me that just because I random something, my team value is now different. So you can have two identical human teams, like completely same skills, yet one is way lower in team value than the other because he just chose to random the same skills.
Well, we had this discussion
Yes.
when you, was it you playing, was it Warm Up It, when it was like your team was like 180k more expensive with the remade team.
Yeah.
And
That
it
was
was just
probably
like,
right.
yeah, it was just like, I was like 200k off of it. I was like, that's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. But I think yeah. So that's why I made my team like that, because it is ridiculous. I'm not disagreeing at all in that, but that is for my. Oh, that's not nice.
That not was cool.
That
On the same ogre.
agrees.
God damn.
Yes, yes, he's not having a good day. So because it exactly enables you to do that sort of, let's be fair, call it bullshit. That is that I get a different team value just because I spend the time on randoming the stuff that I needed, instead of just buying it. The problem is, and I think that's like the idea with the randoming from a game design perspective, was that it was meant to encourage players to not just design their teams and then just say like, this is the team that I want, and then I've just designed it and then just basically built the players up to that, and
Yeah,
get more.
GW expected people to random and keep the bad skills instead of
Yes.
just going, "Oh, that's garbage. I'm sacking it and rehiring, and then we'll
Yes.
see what happens on the next one."
Yeah, and if you're playing something like any 10 plus AV team, right? That's actually not that hard to do. If you're playing like 7 plus armor value teams, good luck with, you're gonna die anyway, right? And the problem is that the randoming, I think, should have been rewarded in a different way. So, for example, if you said like, yeah, you get to pick, let's call it, say, just don't use these numbers, but just like a concept, right? It's like you pick 7 skills and you roll the dice, and then you get one of those 7, and thereby you don't know exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get full cost team value. You're going to get a cost that is nearly the same for buying the skills, but you are now encouraged to do so because you can still get the skills cheaper. You have some control, not full control, and your teams will be more random, and you will not be, if you look at a lot of the teams in challenges and stuff like that, there's a huge aspect about like, what skills did you get randomed and thereby at lower cost at what time in your team development, and that shouldn't really be what drives your success.
I mean, in my opinion, when it comes to randoms, like, I mean, I just wish they weren't in the game unless, like, the TV cost was the same.
Yeah.
And it's not, because a lot of people then default to the argument of, oh, you just don't like random because you think that someone can make a super team someone can just random like 10 skills and they get like 100k or more in savings, and then it's just broken. And that's actually not the case. The bigger argument for me is that because of the way the human mind is, it just is, people see if I random and still get what I want and it's cheaper, it's better. And the problem with that is it means that everybody tries to random on everything pretty much, unless it's like a really important player, to try and do that. And if you get lucky, well, yeah, great, okay, fine. If you get unlucky, you're there for a very, very long time and a lot of games and time just put into the game, and you're still not getting what you want at a tiny discount. I think the random system should be more of a, okay, you've got SPP. Do you want to just have a gamble now? And if you don't get what you want, maybe it sucks and you just put it on the line of scrimmage, or you can sack it if you want, but it doesn't change the cost in any way. So then it's not disincentivized, but it's like you can speed up your development if you want to gamble.
But
It's not anything else.
so I think maybe just for fairness of everything. So I studied game design and game theory at university. So I might be a little bit, let's call it biased or opinionated in certain ways about certain things. And I fully agree with what you're saying. And I think if you look at it from a purely game design point of view and balancing, there is, on one hand, that the idea for randoming, encouraging players to do exactly why you gave off the discount on team value. And I think the idea, at least in theory, was that you would counteract that by the redraft mechanic. That by having players have a, let's call it a life cycle, and not playing 100+ games each of your players on your team, you couldn't really design your players to the same extent. But that only works in a very, very set way. And I don't
I don't even think it works with redraft. It's what you do.
No. But like at least the redrafts sort of counters it. Like it redrafts the intention and intention. I'm not saying like that's how it works. And the intention is that your players don't last forever. They will eventually retire for one or other reason, right? And hence you can't build the same way teams. Like if we had redrafts, the org team that I had is not possible.
I was going to interject. The redraft would make it work absolutely, because every player gets that 20k fee for every season they have.
Yeah.
So take Archangel's team, who, let's just say we implemented a full redraft at the first point we do it, and we imposed the fee from since the dawn of time of Blood Bowl 3.
Yeah.
Every player is going to be 500k.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So like the way why I think it doesn't work with redraft is because redraft inherently is probably a good thing, because it does stop you getting these monstrously high team value teams. But I don't think it really does anything to random, because like what happens is the way redraft just is, you're incentivized to build 2-3 superstar players, and then everything else is like chaff. So essentially what happens is you have a super ball carrier, a super killer, and then maybe something else for utility, or whatever else you want, maybe another killer. And then at the end of the season, just before you're about to redraft, you go, oh, I've got some SPP on these people, I'll just random on them. And then if they get something good, oh sweet, it's now just essentially halved the redraft cost, because instead of spending 20k for a skill and 20k on the redraft, you're spending 30k overall. So you're just trimming a bit off the top, which then saves you money for your redrafting, which then with your treasury and stuff, it just makes it cheaper. And then they have a better team going into the next season. If it's bad, it doesn't matter. You just redraft that player.
It does, but that random's going to then be 40k in the next season. So you get to a stage where, okay, you might have randomed a wrestle, but are you really prepared to pay, an 40k keep a vessel on a lineman who's not a key piece.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, you probably keep that player for the next season until you hit the redraft period again, and then maybe you do the same thing of you random, and if it lines up, it's great. If not, it just becomes something normal, and you still have your 3 like superstar players. Like, the chaff doesn't actually matter, but if it randoms something good, then it matters a lot because you can just kind of be like, okay, well, I get to save my 3 superstars and this player that randomed well. And then that player probably gets sacked at the next redraft, and then you try again, basically.
Yeah, but like all players, as soon as you hit a particular point, I mean, the rule book state 1400 is the money value, not the TV, the money value. So every fee you pay comes out of that money. So before you even start, say, I've played 12-game tabletop leagues, as well as like 11-game Blood Bowl ones. And because we pick our MVPs, it's not random. We get our opponents to pick it. We're all fairly good-natured about it, but it tends to be that players, 2 or 3 players tend to get a lot of the star player points, and you end up with kind of like 3 or 4 really good players, like real super good players, and then a few utility players which you basically forced to get star player points. And that just means that you've got 3 good players. Now eventually you're going to be paying through the nose for each one. I'm going to find from my league's website. I'm going to tell you about this.
But I also think, like, from a game design purpose, it is because you're trying to do different things at once, and then you have systems that are disrupting, at least, is the use the polite word for disrupting each other. Because on one hand, you want a perfect balance system where at all TVs, all teams should be comparatively equal. And if you look at NAF style sort of tournaments, right, you can see that to fix that, because that is not even fully working, you need to have tiering of the teams. Fine, fair enough. That's one set of issues. Then you want to have a perpetual, you can build teams, you can craft players, give them a life cycle, give them injuries, level them up, like a fantasy building team sort of experience, right? That is also cool, but those rules will now intermingle with the other rules and need to be balanced against that, and that makes it really, really hard. And on top of that, you have, we also want to have like leagues, we also want to have knockout, we also want to have, and it makes that the balancing of rules you need to do more or less becomes impossible. And that's, I think, why it becomes like a 7-headed monster with arms and all that random directions, because it's like you're trying to do too many things with one system.
Galentius put, I have an all-random zombie 20-star player points away from being a 100k legend.
Yeah.
It's dumb. That is insane. I want to tell you about this Rat Ogre, because this is where I think this is where the league will get to once redraft comes in proper. So this Rat Ogre is called Brutus. It plays for Ratmanaloffs. And it has block, horns, claw, tackle, dodge, and break tackle. It costs 370k, but it doesn't cost 370k because it's been playing 3-4 seasons, and we have the first season has no fee. So yeah, it's you're looking at kind of what's it, 370. If he was to keep that next season, he's looking at least 80k on that fee. So that's a 450 player. So that means you're going to have no good gutter runners at all to keep it. I mean, he's also got another 245k gutter runner, because he's got dodge, he's got sprint, sure feet, block, 2 heads, sidestep, monstrous mouth, and then it looks like a special award which we give out. But you can't keep both those players.
No, and I think, like I said, like, redraft helped. It doesn't solve, but at least in my opinion, it helps, because it exactly puts a, let's call it, a limit on how old your players can be. If I look at my team, not all, fair bit of them have like 70 plus matches. That would never be possible in a redraft system. So I would need to change.
I mean, yeah, that is the one thing I'm at least like kind of happy about is that like it does act like there is a finite number of games you're gonna play.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, like redraft isn't like this silver bullet that fixes all the problems. It kind of just has its own set of issues. It fixes some, creates new ones.
Yeah.
But I think we're getting redraft next season. So I mean,
Don't know. I mean, you're probably more privy to more information, but of course, you won't be able to tell us anything like that. So for any UKBBLers who are listening, we will obviously have to look at what has been implemented, whether it is a full redraft, before we would implement it.
I don't know too much details on it at the moment. I don't know if it's like private league only, if it's coming to the ladder. My main worry is that if it comes to the ladder, and for example, let's say it's a 15 game redraft, no offense, that's fucking pointless.
Yeah.
that for like a ladder environment, if it's like a 15 game redraft, that's probably very, very pointless.
Why?
Well,
I don't understand why.
Because I feel like you don't get to like, let's say it's a 15 every 15 games you redraft, like you can essentially play 44 games before you even really have to make any actual decisions.
Yeah.
And like, who's playing more than 44 games? You've got Mr. Page and some random dude in
Hey, I'm not random.
somewhere else. There's not that many people that play more than 44 games on a team. So it wouldn't really have any true impact unless you played more than 44 games.
It would definitely put a stopper to dwarves with like 70 matches and just randoms on all skills. Like I've done that on challenge. It works.
It would to some degree prevent the like 70 plus game like dwarves and orc teams that are trying to random for guard and mighty blow on every player.
Yeah.
It would do that. It probably doesn't really shut them down too much. In still trying to do that, because people are going to try it.
Definitely.
The old like one runner, two blitzers, 11 players with one reroll, and trying to squeeze the life out of the team value.
Yeah.
But yeah, it like I don't know any other details. Obviously, if I knew, I wouldn't be able to say them anyway. But it depends how it's implemented as to if it's effective or not.
Oh,
that's an
double
aggressive
skull.
reroll there that we
Yeah,
witnessed.
I think it would be better to put it up here. Yeah.
So I'm assuming this is Jacob's drive.
Yeah, he's receiving. So yeah.
Oh, I have a question.
42.
I have a very interesting question to Phil.
Yeah, go on then.
You twisting next season?
I don't want to.
But Amazon.
I know. So this was going to kind of be my next sort of thing. I think the agility teams need some help. I mean, I know that. Yeah. I don't want to say things that will come across as. You can be a reasonably average of standard of coach, and you could take a bash team at the moment, I think, against an agility team, and wipe the floor with them if you get the right dice, because the dice are just, if you remove players like I found yesterday, you can do that. It's more of a challenge being agility, and I don't want to re-roll an agility from the Prem. So, although I might not win anything while I'm up there, in fact I'm certain I won't win anything while I'm up there, it's good. It's personally good. I like the fact that it feels like I'm able to take something that is challenging and at least get it mid-table. That might not stay that way, but
So
I love the fact that I'm able to continue to compete with what I
I've
feel is a style of play that needs some help.
so if we look at who is qualified for the playoffs, right? It has actually been both agile and it's been and bash teams. So if I look at top end players who have had both luck and the right teams and all that sort of thing, it seems that at least at that level, that the races are more equal to some extent. I definitely think if you go and take 100 average coaches and give 50% of them bash teams and 50% of the others dodge teams, the bash teams will probably do better. And it's because, but generally, this is at least my personal take on it, is that I find that agile teams are not forgiving. If you make a mistake, it's going to cost you dearly. If you do a bad thing, like a bad decision or something like that with a bash team, you can most likely get away with it because your arm is either going to save you, or it's going to cost you maybe a touchdown. That might not be the end of it. If you have a bad match with, like, we're looking at Wood Elves here, so let's just take those. You will be crushed and you will have no team afterwards. And so it's very unforgiving. So you need to play at your peak every single time to get away with it. And I think that's also why you see a lot of new players. This is at least again my take on it. Gravitate towards the bashier teams because they're more forgiving. And it feels like they're doing well, but it is just that the bash teams are forgiving.
This
I
is something
think
interesting just about this little play. I think I wouldn't be surprised to see this thrower get its just desserts on this turn.
Yeah.
I would have liked to sit. We will come back to what you're just saying, but interesting that I would have done exactly the same thing. The
Yeah.
Wood Elves have got away with it because of the double skull here.
Yeah.
But making the first dodge with the handoff, and if you needed to re-roll it, maybe taking a handoff at that point. But I'd have just been trying to run the runner through or run the thrower through, because that lineman in front of him was already free.
So
And you want as few of a few of the elves in base contact as you possibly can, because if that Black Orc doesn't hit him on the first go, well, he's got two mates to his right hand side who'd be more than glad to have a go. So, and with grab, but I digress. Sorry.
no, I think it's actually a good point because I think that's also like the difference between, like, if you want to play at a high end and play like the more fragile, more generally like dodgy elves or Skaven or similar teams, like it's all about like managing how often do you mark, when do you mark, what order do you do, what do you do to cover for if you fail the pickup, if you fail the handoff, if you fail the catch, what do you have put in place? And if you get one of those wrong, you're screwed.
half your team gets punched.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Yeah.
But like that's the thing. I think with agility teams and to some degree some of the hybrid teams, it is literally just you need to get your turn ordering right. But also because of the way the teams are designed, they've got a lot less armor, which means they're prone to being removed, which then means you need a bench. And the more players that you have as a bench, because you need players as a bench, means that, and especially for like elves who have more expensive benches,
they're the most expensive linemen in the game, I think, aren't they? Apart
something
from
like
dwarf,
that, yeah.
Apart from dwarf runners, or what dwarf linemen, wood elf, dark elf, and high elf linemen. Can't remember what the high elf ones are, but certainly wood elf and dark elf.
I'm fairly sure there's 70k too.
Linemen in the game, apart from the dwarves. And this is the other problem.
Well, yeah, because the more players you have on the bench, especially if they're expensive, means that you're just losing that much in value as skills on the field. So, like, I could have a 1300 Wood Elf team, and I could have a 1300 Orc team, and the Orc team's got like 8 more skills. And it's like, oh, right, yeah, because the Wood Elves only start with 2 War Dancers, a Catcher, and 11 players. So they don't have a tree. They don't have a bench, which they need to get. They don't have any. They only have one catcher, which they probably need to buy at least 1 or 2 more. So like you're essentially buying players so that you've got more players to have expendable and more better players. Whereas Orcs will like start off and then they go, yeah, maybe I'll buy an extra lineman for 50k, and then we both buy an Apo, and then the rest of it's just pure skills. Because they only need 11 or 12 players, and then they're absolutely
I might have to disagree. So I find bench sizes is actually a very interesting thing, and tells a lot about what the player type you are, because I've seen orc teams with 14 players, and I would argue that 14 players in most cases are too many. But if you
I would say 14 for orcs, that's too many. I think the max I would ever go on orcs is 13, and that's when once you get to the high team values. But like 13 to 14 players on like elves and Skaven, that's like you want that almost as soon as possible, really.
So I would. So like a 14 player orc team is too many, and I think it's the same for the elves. And I think it's because there is a balancing act between, like you say, like how much, let's call it power, team value do you actually have on the field, and how much team value do you have benched. So I've had this discussion with some of the players that I coach, and it's like, if you have a gutter runner superstar that can make one turns touchdowns, have all the trimmings, the bashing here, but it's like 250k sitting on your bench. That's a lot of team value that you're not using for 80-90% of your turns. That might be a little bit too much, and even that's maybe if you have 12 players, right? So there's a balance between how much team value / power do you have on the field, and how much do you have for backup, because we all know that you're gonna get like a KO or injury, and yeah, are you gonna accept being 9 players now? No team can really survive with 9 players. It's not really good. Elves is one of the few teams that could more easily do that, but still not a good place.
That's the thing, though, right? Like you rock up to a game. You're playing elves or you're playing Skaven. You flip the coin, and your opponent goes, "I'm going to receive," and you go, okay, so I'm losing at least 1 player, maybe 3.
Yeah.
And then you get blitzed, and then maybe fouled, depending on what skills they've got. And you can easily be down 2-3 players on turn 1. And you're like, okay, if I'm down, because I've had it before where I was playing Skaven, and I went down turn 1. I lost 4 players.
You took 4 blocks. Yeah, you took 4 blocks.
And I was like, oh, I guess I can't play the game anymore. Really, I have 7 players on turn 1, and they've got the ball. It's safe, and they've also removed 4 players. Like, the only thing that happens there now is they shuffle forwards, they knock something else over. If that doesn't die, it gets kicked in the face on the floor, and then it does die.
Yeah, but with Skaven, you could run away, and you could run away into a corner, and that means that you're not going to take blocks for 3 turns, and then you could just punch a hole and then run the other way. Because Skaven have the movement to be a problem. I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're going to catch you Roga, which isn't great.
I'd possibly say, well, we've got someone here who is very good at Dark Elves, but I'd say being down 9 to 9, so 2 down with Dark Elves with no movement boosts. I'm assuming no movement boosts here. Going down to 9 is a bigger problem for Dark Elves than it is for Wood Elves.
Yeah,
I agree.
Because they're just faster. So you could play a 12-man, 12 or 12 person roster with Wood Elves. I don't know, possibly up to 1600, something like that.
Yeah.
Just pluck that number out of thin air. You're going to lose players, but you probably just Daka offense and Daka defense,
Yeah.
and basically play it as a game of I'll just run away from you, and when I've got the ball, I'll score. Thanks a lot. But with
I know
Dark
that's
Elves,
a very boring way of playing, though, isn't it? Like,
it's a
oh,
very boring way
right,
of playing. But
I only have 12 players, so when you're on offense and I'm on offense, I'm doing the same thing. I'm running away for half the game.
yeah, but I won 5 games in the in the Clash of Titans competition by doing that. Thank
It
you very
works.
Yeah, I
much.
mean it's a great way to win, but that's right. Like that's part of the why it sucks, right? Like you're
Yes.
like you're sacrificing bench for deciding to just not play half the game.
But
Whereas if you're actively wanting to be like aggressive, then you need the bench. I guess it's play style, right? But like,
oh
and
yes,
obviously that play style is very much like, yeah, I mean, get wins this way, but and
but
I could play that way, but god damn, man, I couldn't do it long term.
like if you look at an Underworld team like that, I think is exactly the most extreme version of exactly that. You can basically make a Underworld team which is like 16 players, pure like riffraff, but you have the one turn touchdown gutter runner, and then you're just gonna go like, yeah, I'm gonna make a touchdown and your drive, and there's no way you can stop me. I can most likely also score on my drive. Now you are actually already 2 touchdowns down. What you gonna do about that? Are you gonna foul my snotlings off the field? Go for it. I don't care.
Yeah,
And
I played Underworld in the ladder last season a little bit, and
yeah.
like the first 5 games were like miserable.
Mhm.
And then my gutter runner had 2
Once you
skills.
have
It
that,
had 2 heads. It had block, and I was like, all right, yeah, I can just do stuff now.
Yeah. And I think it comes both a question of playstyle, of course. Like some people like the doing injuries on your opponent's team. Some people like to make the touchdowns. Some people, they don't care about how they won. They just care about they won. And it's like, I'm not saying that any of those are wrong. I'm just saying it's very different ways of playing the game. And if you care about like making plays, then of course that sort of like Underworld slash type of style is boring, because you are basically going to be sitting and waiting for 16 of the turns, waiting for your opponents to do something, and you're going to do 1 turn touchdown and your turn 16 touchdown, and that's it. That's basically the game for you.
I mean, I'm of the position where I feel like if you're playing an agility team, you should be playing it aggressively. If you want to play it like extremely passively of just running away, like I'm not going to say it's wrong, because you'll probably get more results that way and you'll have fewer casualties on your team. But
Lose.
I feel
That's
like I feel like that's I feel like the game inherently shouldn't be rewarding not playing the game.
No, and I think that's sort of also the difference between, are you playing Blood Bowl as a story tool where it's like it's about the game, it's about like the sense of being a coach, about developing your players, or are you seeing this as basically chess with different pieces? If you're playing this like chess
No
with,
one should play it like chess with different pieces.
hey, are
That's
you
how
telling
you
me
go
I'm playing
down the
this
rabbit
wrong?
hole. Yes, I am, because that because I used to play it like that, and I grinded the life out of the game for the first 18 months, got pretty good, and then what basically like won an online tournament, completely crashed out, burnt out into oblivion, and then stopped playing because I took the game far too seriously.
Exactly, and I'm not encouraging anyone else to do it, because
No, I'm
it
actively against it.
yes,
It makes you a better player, but it's not worth the cost.
no, but and I think that's also, again, like we talked about this thing about like, are you going to play NAF style? Are you going to play along Eternal Leagues, or like there's a huge discrepancies between how you play it. And if you play it like a, let's call it coach simulator with a team and development and all that sort of thing, that doesn't make sense. Then that sort of playing style is really unrewarding, and can lead very easily to burnout. But if you are going for a much more, let's call it tactical and purely strategical decision based approach, then it makes sense. that's the way to do it.
I like
But
both.
it's so boring.
I like both. I use the UKBBL and I use tournaments as my competitive version, and then I use the ladder to learn. It's usually what I use it for. And my tabletop league is my story, my fun stuff.
Yeah.
Because we have a league that just, I think I might have said this on the stream before, we play with all the bells, all the whistles, everything. Go and look through the death zone. We use all of that. Everything. It's mental.
Yeah. Death Zone's a little bit on the crazy side, but I like it.
Anyone heard of ball pop? Match events. These are fun. Go and have a look at them, folks. Okay? Roll a d16 every turn. Every turn. Right? So that's 32 opportunities for a random match event. If you roll a 1 on the d8, and I think it's a 1 and a 1, the ball pops and it disappears. You need to roll a dice until you roll a 6. So on the start of every player's activation, the ball just disappears, and then it takes for someone to roll a 6 for the ball to be thrown in by the crowd. You know, a new ball to be thrown in. I was playing a game against vampires. I was playing my wood elves, and the ball popped on turn 14, and I was 2-1 up.
Yeah.
And I thought I might win here, because the ball just disappeared. And I could have just said, well, I'll pass then, and you can do stuff, and hope you don't roll a 6 for 3 turns when you activate your player. It's mental.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people out there. They want the giant to be added to Blood Bowl 3. It's an interesting player, to say the least.
Yeah. I think that sort of goes into at least my take on the whole, and let's not go too far down this road, the bomber thing. And it's like, do you prefer to be tactical chess with different rules and dice, and then the bomber has no place in this, or the giant, or the ball popping, or stuff like that, right?
I want to use the giant.
But
I want to use the giant.
Yeah, but if you want the craziness and you want the madness, and it's just more like a story tool, then you want more of that. And
I mean, I think I like a balance. I want a little bit of wackiness and a little bit of whimsy and just weird stuff. What I don't want is so much weird stuff that you don't really know what's going on, and it can just kind of like it takes away too much from the tactical element. But I want people to be able to, like, I don't know, just pull off weird stuff.
This is why I like I actually like the season weather tables.
Yeah.
I
like Stadium as well.
This is why I've been really enjoying the event, because, I mean, even though I get put onto the Lizardmen pitch almost every game, the pitch rules have been quite nice.
That's the one that gives basically +1 to
all armor rolls. Yeah, it's questionable to say the least.
I think
some
that's
of
the
them
polite
are
word.
much better than others. I think I've said this before. Some of them are much better than others.
Yeah. I mean, I've played a couple on like the Wood Elf pitch, which was really nice because I did 2 rushes to today. I did 2 rushes to surf a player, and then my player was going to get counter surf, but because it was the Wood Elf pitch, I got a 3rd rush, so I got out of jail for free, which was really nice. And I've played on like the skating pitch a little bit. Unfortunately, I've not managed to roll geysers or anything crazy yet, but I'm waiting for it.
Ouch.
I want to roll some of the crazy stuff because I think it's just gonna make things weird.
I like as I say, I like some of the crazy stuff. Looks like Norse might score here. We haven't spoken a lot about the games we've been watching.
No.
There's been a lot of good stuff that we've spoken about, but we haven't actually analysed the UKBBL at all.
No. And more importantly, what we actually here for tonight, we haven't looked at any of the predictions yet.
Nope.
Oh yeah. Oh please do. Please do. Let's do it.
So
how well am I doing?
I think Well, I'll leave that for a second. I'll just find another game to just put it on the background while we start talking about the predictions here. Just
As long
There's
as
no
it's
way
not
my
all-
predictions have gone well. I can feel it in my bones.
well, you have to remember, Evie, we agreed that it was pure luck last season.
podcast with some Blood Bowl in the background. I think
This-
that's an apt description of basically what happens every time we go on here, to be honest.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll just,
Ugh, more unwashed green skins.
yeah, and I think they might be a little bit in trouble.
Are there any dead orcs? Oh, never mind.
No dead orcs.
One
Just-
can hope.
There's one.
dead orc.
There's one. And he got a nick too.
Got missed next game.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Saying this is what we need in Prem West. We need some bloody necro.
Yeah.
When we relegate all of the elves in Prem West, because they will get murdered by the orcs, and they have 3 necro teams turn up.
Yeah.
Still there.
It's currently more looking like we're getting a Skaven and another Wood Elf team.
Oh, lovely!
Yes.
Everyone in the green in a green persuasion will be delighted.
Yeah, I'm just surprised actually that if I were one of the Skaven teams, I would definitely make sure that I at least had one, maybe 2 claws. But there seems to be a low rate of claws in Prem West, but that's a separate discussion.
It's really difficult to get claw on a Skaven team. Like every time I play Skaven, like my blitzers essentially just become cannon fodder players. It's all just I can't level them up to save my life.
I can see you playing around with your screen, Archangel. I think
Yes.
everyone probably said. How are we doing?
So we will start off in Griffin Wood.
Did you do me points? Did you find me some points?
Points.
Like, do I get like a point per team?
Well,
in the top 3.
we can do it. We can do it like that. Like I have.
And then should we have a point if my dark horse is in the top 5? Because I can see I've got one in the top 5.
just randomly picking top 5 here by any chance, right?
Well, because I think that like dark horse, they might be slightly out of the, So that's 3 there. I've got 3 on that one. What's that? Griffin's Wood?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that's pretty good. I think I tried to collect the data at midnight, and should most of them all have 6 points. Played 6 games. There's a few where they played more, but it's not that many.
As well,
Yeah. So if we look at Griffin Wood, that's a pretty nice prediction. It seems like Bombadil has done his dirty work and ruined your predictions as you feared.
Yeah.
So that was pretty spot on.
Oh, I did say, you might you might have just not found your race, not found your place.
Yeah.
Hopefully Bombadil has now done that.
Yeah.
Pointy ears is where it's at. Even though they get murdered a lot, they're still great fun to play.
Oh yeah, and I think like one of my reasons why I like playing it with elves is like even if you have 4 players, you actually still have a shot at it, right? Like it's just because elven bullshit, there's always a chance that you can get away with stuff that I like. If you're playing something like orcs or dwarves or something like that quickly goes out the window. It's like, yeah, from here I can't do much. It's just not enough movement or agility or anything to really make anything different.
Oh, Bombadil, no, you can't. No, I've changed my mind about you. You can't murder dark elves. They're lovely.
Yes.
Wait, go back up for a second. Like what Matt must have said. Like, isn't the pink one the wild card and the red one the one that's more likely to screw things up?
Sorry.
technically
Yes,
the wild
actually,
card is...
yes, this is actually supposed to be the wild card. And I
So
don't know
still get
why.
3 points then.
Yeah.
I still get 3. That's what you're saying. I still get 3 points.
Yeah.
The
Doesn't matter.
person most likely to screw your predictions up is in 5th, though.
Yeah.
Lovely 3 arrows at the top. 1,
Yeah.
2, 3.
Yeah, Dan is actually correct. That's the one meant to be. Have I done that several times properly?
one gets less.
Yeah,
less
yeah,
good.
yeah. I've done that repeatedly down here, so that's going to be
Oh,
fun.
you got Kuto. Oh, I get another point.
Yeah. Yeah, and I used to go up there too. So,
Second, yeah. There you go.
I'm sorry to have to say Evie, but
God
it
damn
doesn't seem like it was pure luck last season, which I really hate to admit. But it doesn't it doesn't forebode very well for the pure random luck argument here.
Oh, there's another 3.
So if we look at the third one for the wood / forest,
There is a division I'm not doing very well in,
yeah.
which I think is in tier 3. I think it might be Farlick Hills,
Yeah.
which is not going particularly well.
And I will also give us an extra tip of my hat at that these are fairly fresh teams, so it actually should make the predictions harder. Like these are newish teams, right? Newish. So
I'm that good.
yeah, that's
Not a Blood Bowl. I can explain what other people are going to do. There's
so
another 3.
if we go at hills, like this is starting to become a bit of a bad pattern, so to speak. It's because this is meant to be up here.
Oh, where's Smooth Carl? Oh, I miss out on a point for him.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah. So I was gonna say I don't think it's
I'm
gone.
not sure what's happened to Will this season. And I mean, I think Winter's dad is probably the most surprised person to be top with goblins.
Yes.
I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah. But I
Because
think
I've seen him basically say that much.
I think though it makes it's more impressive that it is with goblins.
I'm going to say as well, Mal should be my wild card, so I still get a point for that one.
Yeah.
Because they're in fifth.
Yeah.
Because they're at 5th.
Yeah. Thankfully, I played against the goblins, and I did manage to draw against them. I was the only draw against that goblin team, and it was such an anticlimactic game. It was like it literally was okay. The goblins receive. Okay, they cast 2 things and KO 2 things. I run away as the Dark Elves with my fresh-ish team. And then in the second half, my 2 KOs came back, and I was like, all right, sweet. And then I kind of walked it up the field. They misclicked and accidentally did a dodge with a troll, and then I walked past them and I scored on turn 16. And it was unfortunate.
One of the annoying things about online play is that that doesn't happen at tabletop. It's the only drawback of playing online.
And the final.
I get bonus points if they're in exactly the right place as well.
Well, we could give you that. I don't think you need the bonus points, but we can definitely do that. Though I think this is actually like this is just like, but I think this is the one you've done worse than, and it's still quite impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I'm so pleased.
I'll be happy if I've got.
We have a chaos coach.
Yeah,
I'm so pleased we have a chaos coach who looks like they know exactly what they're doing.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think if you look through that league, I don't think there's coaches in there that are bad.
No. Like
so,
King made it to the made it to the final last season in FA Cup,
they
right?
might not have played yet.
Yeah.
But the fact that Lala Prout's won every game, it basically needs to win 2 more and is promoted as champions, I reckon.
Yeah. I would be surprised if they don't get promoted, these 2, in all fairness, because also this one is the 7 matches, right? So
yeah. So it looks like a fight for 3rd, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which should be close.
So
that's pretty good. Who did the Altdorfs again? Who did Altdorfs?
I did, as far as I remember. I could be terribly wrong. And this one needs to be Splicky instead. No, it needs to be May. Down there.
Well done. Get 3 on that one.
I think that's actually at least
actually get a bonus point back. Alex and Scouseboy are in the right places.
Yeah, especially considering like my prediction from last season. This is a huge improvement.
Yeah, huge improvement.
And I think we should just skip West. I don't think we
poorly.
don't really need to look at West.
Oh no.
That's really bad.
Oh wait, your wild card goes to third.
Yeah, at least it goes in the right direction, but it's still not.
What happened?
I don't know, but it's not good. So
I mean, I've not
definitely
seen mine yet, so I can't talk.
No, let's focus on this one. And again, like Splicky is actually ruining my predictions, so I actually think that should count double.
Yeah.
I think you should get a point for that one, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's worth 4. Because
Yeah.
I'll give you a pity, because the next one's so bad.
Yeah. Let's just ignore that one.
Galentio back with a bang as well.
Yeah. Galento sort of took an off season and has been doing quite well this season.
I think I did Prem, didn't I? Did I do Prem?
Yes. And this one needs to be Corpair, which is...
Your fascination with Black Orcs, Evie.
I really like Black Orcs. They're doing well.
I think it's an
It becomes sort of a mandatory quest every season, isn't it? It's going to be whatever division that EV predicts.
Yeah.
If you're playing Black Orcs, it's going to be predicted top 3. It doesn't matter if you're any good or not. Black Orcs are always going to be top 3.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, RTSD he's banging. He's a great coach.
Yeah.
So I did like that pick. However, I've played Red October on tabletop, and I also know he's very good and he knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the Prem, right? They're all good players at this point, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of names on here that people will go. They've been around a long time. Like Galentio's been playing. Galentio plays in other leagues. Ug's been UKBBL since almost the start. RTSD's been around a while. Keith's been around a while. Gav's been around a while. Razor Moose been around a while. You kind of get the picture. Corn Knight, obviously. Red October is not, but I know him. He's very good.
Yeah.
He's not. No surprise that he's up there. I do hope he does well.
Yeah. I'm however a little bit surprised that Corn Knight, especially considering he qualified for the playoff the last 2 seasons, right?
Or his catcher's dead.
Oh, his catcher's dead. Yeah, I'll do it.
That'll be. I reckon that'll be what'll happen. Or his armor will have melted 4 games in a row, or he'll have just ended up playing all the orcs that tend to be in this division.
I mean, it's likely that maybe the first couple of games went poorly, and then Corn Knight's like, right, it's a building season.
Yeah.
And did last season, right?
Yeah.
Got to the won the league the season before, almost got relegated. Now challenge them for the Premier title.
And I think if you remember, we did a quiz poll, where we asked the members of the chat to give their predictions. And I would at least say in this league, we have definitely done better than the predictions.
Oh yeah, like the top 2 have gone down to the bottom 2, and there's a lot of mismatching here.
Yeah. So Galentio and Ganesh
I did have high hopes for Corbo with the wild card. It just looks like it's not been a fantastic season. I wanted to put some respect on the nobles and see if they could pull off something.
It depends who they've played. We've now played 6 games. I'm talking from Misa personally, but I'm now in the West. I've played both orcs. I've played the undead. I've played both lizards.
Yeah.
So I've basically played all the bash. So the only things I've got left to play are both Skaven, both Wood Elves, and the Renegades. So
Yes.
of my games in the season, and I'm currently 2-1-3. Those are my games that I would be targeting to try and win, because I'm likely not. I'd be like getting, mullered in the other ones.
So that leaves us with Prem West. That's when we know West is best. That's the.
Why didn't we predict you in the top 3? Why was that a thing?
I think it's just a personal bias.
55.
Oh, it goes up to 4th. Let's go.
Go, yeah. Did I actually check that the pink is right up here? No, yeah, Colbert's down there. Yeah.
It was super easy to just kind of like go, oh yeah, Andy's going to be at the top. Oh, that was like, yeah, that's probably going to happen. Like, he's going to be like top 2, top 3, easy,
Yeah.
I've been to 3 tournaments this year, 2 of which Andy Davo has been at, and both of those tournaments he has won.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
He's very, very good.
And then I was like, well, I didn't put Hillneck in the last season, and I was like, I probably should have done, so I went for that this time. And then I love gambling on the Sir, because the Sir playing Renegades is fantastic.
Yeah.
Max, Archangel, and Davo have already played, and Archangel won, I think, 1-0.
Yeah. 1-0, 2-0, 1-0. Well, 1-0, 1-0. Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past them though meeting again in the final.
There is definitely a chance of that. I was
shame that Tapestry's letting me down on this one.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised though. In all fairness, on my prediction he would have been higher.
He came
lizard volatility, I think, is probably what's.
Yeah, I think also because he's, as far as I remember, hit many of the Bashir teams, and that means like if you start, like we talked about earlier, if you're Soros down, right, like that's a huge swing. Like if you're 2 Soroses down, that's more or less like thank you for the game, right? I think without knowing.
The thing is, who's Tap played? Because he's now played Davo.
Yeah, that's not included in these scores because that's round 7 match.
4 more games left.
Yeah.
So he could finish on 17, and that's 17's going to finish you about 5th, I reckon.
Yeah.
You need 20s to break top 3.
Yeah.
Fantasy's taking his mummies to Egypt.
Yeah, and the funny thing is also like Ringtail's. So like we talked about in the other league, like Ringtail was at the bottom of last season, and now he was for a long while actually at the very top. I think he's only lost to me and Davo.
I got to play with the Swift Twins against him. That was fun.
Yeah.
I'm not sure though. Ringtail was. I think he said it himself. He must have been doing something else because I know Ringtail's very good.
Yeah.
But he did say he was kind of half asleep.
Yeah.
That's fair. I'm surprised you decided to take the Swift Twins. They are very overpriced.
They are, but this was the first opportunity I'd have had to take them.
That's very fair.
So I was like, that it's the 2 Orcs and the 2 Wood Elves.
So the thing that I find interesting is these predictions seems much more spot on, except that there was a clear overconfidence in the Wood Elves doing well in this bracket. Because if I actually just go like this, then it's not that far off from being right.
There's just not enough opportunity to get Orcs, to get these good Orcs missing games.
No, I think also they did run into some rough matches at the start of the season that didn't help them either.
Like me, I think they played all of their bash games.
Yeah.
Early doors.
Yeah.
That's the worst part about being like the agility team in like a redraft environment, whether it's like the proper redraft rules or not. It feels like you have to sacrifice something, and it's basically either bench or rerolls, and you don't really want to sacrifice either of them.
No.
I sacrificed my Apo this season and got away with it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you've got to sacrifice something, and you kind of just got to hope and just like fingers crossed that games 1 and 2 are like nice and easy games, or you don't have, or you go against the only other team that's potentially just not Orcs. If you go against Orcs game 1 and you're like, oh no, this isn't going to be good.
Just to go down to Prem West, because actually, I do think this is worth saying, and I know there are some who feel very strongly about the fact that the Orcs are dominating this division. It doesn't help. You've got probably one of the best coaches in the world, and another one who's very, 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 very good.
Decent, acceptable,
Have,
acceptable.
We've got 3 elves and 2 Skaven in this division, though.
Yeah. I say, like, there's not enough firepower I think in this division to stop
Threaten them.
So I think
it's a very nice league for 2 well-developed Orcs.
Yeah, I think it's more the developed, lack of a better word, developedness of the 2 Orc teams, because like Scrambling Undead should have no problem with Orcs. Lizardmen should technically have no problem with Orcs either, and Chaos Renegades and Skaven should also not have a problem with them. But you need to then be equally developed, and that seems to be more the mismatch.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm thinking. Like you've got like 2 Wood Elves and Dark Elves, which they're not really gonna do very much against like Orcs in terms of like firepower. Undead and Lizards and Renegades can try, and I guess to some degree the Dwarves as well. I feel like the Dwarves kind of just get bullied though, but they at least can fire back. But like the Undead and the Lizards are probably the most likely to take the fight to the Orcs. But if the Orcs get like a player advantage or something valuable is off the field, or the Orcs are highly developed, it's still pretty hard for them to really do very much. And essentially, like the only teams that are essentially threatening the Orcs are each other.
Yeah,
in terms of just raw amounts of guard and firepower.
But I think
it's going to take some time to get through. I think the thing is that you'll always develop to your opponents, and I think you've mentioned the point about there's a lack of claw about.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be surprised to see those the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Both those Skaven and both those Chaos Renegades, they'll develop into, they'll just take claw on their blitzers.
Yeah, like Ringtail have that, for example. That's a good example. Like Ringtail has a blitzer that is more or less built for bashing heavy armor players, and that makes sense because
you need it
with a pot like this. You definitely need that. But the thing that I actually find sort of interesting in this is like there is actually a lot of heavy armor valued teams, but there's also a lot of agile teams. So if you go too deep in on the anti-bashing, you will struggle against the agile teams. And if you go too much anti-agile teams, you will definitely struggle against the bash teams. So in that sense, it is actually a for building and picking the right teams, a more complicated pot to be in because there's such a diversity. Whereas if this is just to make it really extreme, like Wood Elves and Skaven, all of the teams, right? Like clearly you're gonna have diving tackle and stuff like that because you need to stop those agility teams, right? But diving tackle here, yeah, you sort of need it maybe, but you also that's not really gonna help you against the other teams. So can you afford it? And can you like if you get like I talked a little with Little Wing and about his dwarf team, and like I like that he has defensive, but having 2 players with defensive, that's 80 team value. That's a lot.
That's a lot, yeah.
Yeah. So
of course you're randoming it.
Yeah.
You're saving up the first player, but then again, you just there's teams that feel that randoming is just such a good option, and Orcs just feels one of the teams that randoming is really good for them.
Yeah.
Because you can score on Orc blitzers pretty easily.
Yeah.
They're Edge 3, right?
Yeah.
but it's really hard to score on a dwarf lineman.
It
It's
is
really hard.
But-
so you're reliant on either MVPs or injuries dropping.
Yeah, well,
and if-
I've built quite a few dwarf teams, and I would say it's actually I find it almost easier to do on the linemen actually, because you get also a lot of blocks and you get a lot of injuries, especially if you get to play against Wood Elves or Skaven, and it's 2 injuries and you get a random.
But you're still reliant on getting injury dice, and we've all played games where we might have had 45 blocks and got no injuries.
Yeah, but then you also have the games where
but-
you get 10 out of 10 rolls, right? So it's funny how it evens itself out over time, but you can't rely on it doing it in one match. Definitely not.
I think on dwarves, I think it's kind of the same though with like dwarves and orcs. I think they're by far the easiest team to random on, because it's just like after every single game you go, right, where does the MVP land? All right, random it. Because
Is it guard? Keep. Yeah.
Is it guard? Is it mighty blow? Keep those. Is it stand firm? We think about it. We probably still keep it.
I definitely keep stand firm.
Especially with dwarves, let's say you're running the super min max stuff where you're running 11 players and you're running all linemen, 2 blitzers, and a runner. The MVP lands anywhere that's not the runner, and it gets randomed.
What is this?
This atrocity of a war crime is called a ladder team, where you random. And for those who want to have a look,
1695. That's unplayable. You can't play that team. You can't play against that team. Did you take this into Chalice?
yes,
Did you win?
twice and then lost because I double snaked 2 turns in a row. And when you play against Wood Elves, you just don't have enough speed to clean up that afterwards. So, but I only lost because of the.
That's horrible.
Like I said, this is a war crime.
Why would you do this?
To prove how broken random skills are.
We don't need you to prove that. We already know. I just feel this is sort of cruel.
This is.
I just want you to put this into another perspective, right? Someone else had to spend their evening playing that.
No. To be fair, a lot of people had to spend
it. Don't like.
You have to see 86 matches. A lot of people had to spend their evening playing against.
Do you not like the ladder? Do you not like those people?
Well, we were talking about this thing about like what is it that you wanted to do? Like what is it you want to achieve, right?
Do you want to give people a miserable time?
The sad thing is, for better or worse, is also
I'll forget my troubles of real life, and I'm going to run into that.
Yes, but the thing is, you run into at this, like, because also when you play a lot of matches, you play against teams who play a lot of matches, so you run into equally sad teams. And that would be like a classic example, like a chaos kill team or something like that. Oh, you got 7 claws and dirty player and blah blah blah, and yeah, this is going to be a fun match.
To be fair, Mathimus is right. You weren't banging out victories like left, right, and center though.
Oh, because I needed to keep. Okay. This is not how you meant to be a nice person on the ladder. But if you want to keep your rating down, so you don't get too much of a difficult time, you want to get a lot of star player points, but not necessarily win, because that way you keep your challenges rating down, so you get easier opponents. If you want to game the system, this is exactly what you should do. I would not encourage this for anyone who has any decency in their life, but this is what you do.
But that's not you,
Phil. We're gonna have to go to Archangel's house. We're just gonna have to deal with this.
But just again to compare, like this is a team where it's random, right? This is if you do it the really really sad way and just build everything on randoms and stuff like that. Just compare that to this team. Team value wise, they're more or less identical. But I know which of these 2 teams I prefer to play against. Yes, this is neat, but it costs a lot more because nothing of this is random, more or less. So that's the difference.
I still think that's a fairly unpleasant team because it's
definitely this is still a very unpleasant team to face against. But this is what I mean. Like this is still
you love an armor upgrade, didn't you? You love an armor upgrade.
Yeah.
I mean, this dwarf team's only got 4 guard, right? That's more than reasonable.
So in all fairness, like if my orc team or Andy's orc team met this dwarf team, they would most likely lose. They're not going to win the attrition war against this. But if this means wood elf,
there's not that much guard on this team. There's only 4 guard.
No, but it's not the guard. But I find this against wood elves, you're more or less screwed, because there's just not enough counter mobility. Like, whereas if you look at this team for a counter like wood elf or something like that, yeah, I'll take on the wood elves too. I don't have a problem with that.
Well, I mean, this team has 7 guard, which is much, much, much scarier. Oh no, it's not. It's got 8 guard. I tell a lie.
So the problem is not just the extra guards; it is the extra movements, extra armor value, and everything. Like this has everything you need to have and more too. But yeah, SAT teams. That's not the discussion we were having, right? So yes, and that's what I mean. Like, dwarf can definitely take on orcs, but you need to be built for it.
Well, the thing is, though, you see an orc team that's played 86 games, and it's probably just as disgusting, if not worse.
Okay.
That's a load of orcs.
I was going to say, if you want to do the comparison, we can do the comparisons, because just funny enough, I might have an orc team who just randomly close have like similar-ish matches, right? Like 55 is not
missing like 30 games, but it's still a high number of games. Yes.
So the funny thing is actually that's not including the FA Cup matches, because they don't count in. So but other than that, it actually has played 80 matches with the FA Cup close to something like that.
Can you just show us? Can you just highlight all 4 of your blitzers in turn, please?
Guard, wrestle, tackle, mighty blow, frenzy, tackle, break, tackle, guard. Tackle, movement, agility.
None of them have niggles.
Niggles? Niggles is for losers.
And then you've got like random sneaky get there on a lineman as well.
Yes. And random picked.
Did you random the dirty player? No, you didn't random the dirty player. You picked that.
No, the random picked.
If you random the sneaky get and choose the dirty player, you're getting like sneaky get in addition to dirty player for no cost.
I thought we'd also told you about this. Sort your numbers out.
I only rearranged them for your sake for the finals.
Come back onto one of these streams and look at that as 5 through to 16. This is a commissioner thing, right? You must fill positions 1 through to 11 before you fill anything else. I'm going to write that into the code of conduct. Thank you.
Now, then I have a question for you, for Evie. Can you please make them so that when they present the team, that they do it in reverse order of what they're currently doing? Because it makes no sense that usually this is the most important player that you have, and these are the least important players, but they still pan the camera from this player to this player, showing this one as the last one. That's why I have the in reverse order.
Why you do it? Is that why you do it?
Yeah. So when you do that presentation at the start of the match, it will show you that player as the first, then that one, and then they will finish off by showing you that one. That will be the player that is sort of prime in the camera angle versus the other player from the other team that is last on the list.
Hey, I'm not saying that you can't have your big and blockers as 12 through to 9. Please don't have them from 5 through to 16. That's what I'm saying. Thank you. Now everybody can see that you have 13 players. Even if you've got that stand-in, I can understand that. I know I'm a maths teacher, but I can't cope with that. Yep. That's not okay.
So here's the thing. Like this is actually one of those things that I found interesting. Like I'll just show you. Like, just how easy do you think this team is to consider? Sorry. How do you feel about this list of players now?
Well, I don't care.
For me,
You have them whatever order. They're all orcs. That doesn't
yes,
matter.
this for me is
They're all
completely
the same.
unreadable. I don't understand this. This breaks my brain. I can't organize this data. This is invalid
They're
data.
all
Please
orcs.
sort it.
They're
Please sort it.
all orcs. They all do the same thing.
They-
They're all high armor, kill stuff,
yes,
creatures.
yes.
Put them in whatever order you want, my friend.
But the funny thing is, like, once I put them in order of like at least just the big guns and the blitzers and stuff like that, like I don't care what order those groups are in, but that makes it readable to me. If you just shuffle them in with a pitchfork, I was going to say here, I can't read this. I can't read this. My brain goes like, this is unreadable.
But they're
Yeah, that's horrible.
Yes. And I've
I'm
seen
like, they're right.
certain players who deliberately do this to mess with the opponent's ability to read the team.
Oh, that's really sad.
Yes. or naming their players in a certain way, or using certain cosmetics or colors or something like that. Like all is fair in War and Love, or apparently also in Blood Bowl.
That's really sad.
Yeah.
What's going on in the Necro match, by the way? Because I think I saw some dead orcs, which I'm quite
Ooh.
excited about. I mean, I quite like Ugnash. I think
So
he's
so
quality.
I have to ask you, because you opted for picking that the thing you like to see most dying was dwarves. Are we slightly picking a new category here, or?
No, it's orcs. Orcs. All orcs.
I'm sticking with mine. I'd still love to see a dead dwarf runner. Especially if it's got a bunch of stat ups and stuff. Like, yeah, that just dies. It makes my day.
But I think I think, at least from my point of view, any runner, like any of those, like you got 6 skills and 2 movement upgrades and block and dodge, and like I don't care if it's the dark elf on a renegade team or the runner on a dwarf team, or like any of those like type of players, like just die.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Anything that's got double move up, that can just die. I don't care what team it's on. It just makes it's more satisfying when it's a dwarf team. But if it's a double movement on any team, it can die. And what's really good about that rule is that it means that gutter runners are completely fine because they can't get double move up.
God,
Wow.
pow. One voice pow.
Yeah, and
Bullshit.
and that was
That'll
quite
be
the
really
swing.
upsetting.
Like a failed rush, I reroll. Oh, I get the power instead. That's quite the swing.
It was a bit mean, that, wasn't it?
Very much so.
I don't think I'd be very happy about that.
No. I'd be a very unhappy camper if that was my goal, going down to that.
Let's go TNP. I need you to win this. Oh, I don't think he's going to win this. I need them to at least draw it. Ugnash is ruining my predictions at the moment by playing too well.
Yeah.
And I had TNP as one of mine, so... I mean, TNP is still in like the top 5 or 6, so that's still good.
Yeah.
I think a draw should definitely still be on the table, but I definitely also think the win is not. Though this is not looking exceptionally good for the...
Yeah, I think it's probably finished as 1-1.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Slightly important. Ooh.
Ooh. Yeah.
A dead
Sorry,
orc.
Bombadil. Yeah, it's not the proper ones though. It's not the one we really want to see dead.
But yeah, like you talked about Eevee at the start, like whether it be the school or that blitzer, or like you're seeing a lot of teams that have, like, let's call it 1-star player that's sort of like the ball hawk that is getting all the star player points and is designed to do a lot of the work, right?
Yeah, like, you know, there's only so much you can do, isn't there?
Yeah.
got rid of one of the wolves as well. No, the other wolf is on the floor. Okay, but this is the killer one.
Yeah.
Nice for the orcs. Not so nice for the
Nope.
necro. Though there doesn't seem to be much resistance left in terms of orkiness, is there?
No, but I think it's more a question of like where can you position yourself as the necro player here and actually yeah. Wow, that's
Surely you're away. Surely you can't be. You're not going to get stopped now.
No.
You go and lock both those blitzers up. You now blitz with the wolf. And then run off there.
yeah.
You
Oh, I don't like the dodge. Like, it looks, he would have been fine, I think. You got a blitz there.
This is still a big war.
Wow, that's greedy.
I think you had to do this.
I would probably have taken the blitz here, and then used this one up here.
You know, the problem is it's 2 into 1.
Yeah.
Can't argue with that call, can you, Bob? No.
Yeah, this guy's gonna swing over here.
Yep.
But it's still like dodge and dice on the ball.
However, he does have absolutely no way of keeping that ball safe. And the wolf's in range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a 3+ no reroll, remember.
Yeah.
So this is not high.
Oh, I put the reroll on the yeah.
It's not optimal. I'm gonna say. Definitely not optimal. Oh, what a glorious sight. I'm just looking over that orc bench.
Another straight pal?
First one.
No.
There
Well,
you go. Nice and easy.
Yeah. Sort of a balancing out from the pal, I guess.
That's a straight run in as well, but does he fancy doing anything? No, just gonna run it in.
Yeah. It's option 2.
Here we go again. Touchdown.
Well, I think the big winner from that is Galencio.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely think so.
Interesting ball. Haven't seen that one before.
Is it the necro?
Oh,
One team is missing
Might
its best
be.
player.
really, we should have been supporting UG, so attack could get relegated and then go into Prem West. And all would have been wonderful.
Well, it will still be 2 seasons from now.
Yeah. The claw's coming.
Oh, definitely. Like, I think I played Ringtail the last match of the last season where he killed 2 orcs and maimed 2 more. One match.
So that's the thing I remember is about your team is I beat you the first season we played in the Prem. You know, because at that point, my roster was better than yours.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that's also because when I started, I was already then focusing on getting randoms, and that meant that getting to a functional state was taking longer because I ran up my skills. But that's also why now I have so many players with good random skills.
Yeah. But say it only takes you to have, a 3 or 4 set of games where things go pear-shaped.
Oh yeah.
And it becomes a bit of a problem. It's not guaranteed that you win. But you do need to come across a team that can actually break your armor.
Yeah. But I think we all have had those games where, like, anytime your opponent looks at one of your players, it gets injured, and you have other games where it's like, oh, I've taken 20 injury rolls, and I have yet to have anything KO'd and injured. It's very swinging in that way.
If I told you this, I say I played at the Ipswich Classic. Very good tournament. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Played humans. Took Maple Highgrove, who is my new favourite toy.
Yeah.
He's great. He's so good. Soon to be a megastar who will be banned, unfortunately.
100%.
I'm not sure why. No, actually, no, I do know the reason why. She's phenomenally good for gnomes. Like, she's so good for gnomes. Because it essentially gives you 3 trees. So, Max, I would say the vines is not a problem. Because she's got movement 3. And I don't think she is a megastar. I don't think she's a megastar. Because it's one of those things of like, Ivar's rule is more powerful. Because it's within 5 squares of him. You can basically, tag onto the cage, right? With Maple, you can either, it's a block, you can't use it on a blitz. So your cage has to be 1 square off Maple for that to be useful. Or your cage has to be next to Maple, which you're never going to do. So her special rule is not Ivar Eriksson. Matters. So
Is that the North Star?
That's the North Star. Yeah.
I mean, so the thing about Maple is kind of cheap, but I think I had this discussion with people. Like, I think if you just look at Maple on paper, you're like, Maple's absolutely incredible. Like, it's easy mega ban, like star ban. Just like, let's just not even deal with it. And I understand that train of thought, but I feel like, on paper, yeah, Maple looks incredible, and obviously massive synergy with gnomes. Maybe can work on some other teams too, but I feel like I want there to be like almost like a testing phase where it's like, we know that Maple might be broken, but we're going to allow it to just exist, and we're going to encourage people to actually pick it, and then we're going to get a bunch of data, and we're going to get a bunch of games on it, and then we're going to see, like, are people going to still agree that Maple's OP? Are we going to get like a meta shift because Maple's really strong against some teams and not against others? Does it like change the meta slightly so people like are expecting lots more Maple, so they play other things? Like, instead of just going, oh, you know what, that looks OP on paper, we'll just not deal with that.
But that would be good game design. That would be smart decisioning, and we can't have that. Because
Obviously in video games, when there's a ranked system, normally if let's say like a new character gets added, normally they're banned in rank for like the first like 2 to 4 weeks, so that people can play it in a casual mode, and then it gets introduced into the ranked pool, so that it doesn't just completely upset the whole thing and warp everything. But I feel like in Blood Bowl, like, it probably should do the opposite. You should just be like trial by fire. Truly see through repetition, like, how good is this? Is this something that only the top players can take advantage of? Do most other players just suck, like, at using the utility that the star provides? And I'd like to see. I see it from like a dev perspective.
but I So I work in IT development, and what you're describing is incremental improvement and development. And for all IT development, that is the golden standard. That is the way you're supposed to do it, because that is the one that makes you have the highest chance of making something that actually works and is balanced and is good. And it's also the gold standard for how do you do game design. But the funny thing is, Games Workshop have been allergic to that approach throughout the whole life. They've never wanted to do that. And especially now, like with a game like Blood Bowl and the online and lots of that data, they could easily do balancing things, whether it be to cost or star players or anything. But that conflicts with their basic premise of how they do development.
But their GW's primary focus is not the game.
No. But then they should stop making the rules. Because there's a conflict between, like, so we're gonna make the rules, but we don't care about the rules. But you like so this is an anecdote and from one of the developers who made the Lizardmen back in the day, like for Warhammer Fantasy, right? So for how to figure out what the Lizardmen Sauruses should cost, they took a line of Lizardmen Sauruses across the battlefield, and then they marched across the table. And if they could make it across the table and win the first round of combat against Dark Elf crossbowmen, they were priced right. And well, that's one way of doing pricing. It's fairly easy, and you have a objective sort of say, ouch, measurement for it. But the problem is you also have a measurement that has nothing to do with game balance. And funny enough, it also turned out the Saurus was way underpriced. Who could have foreseen that? And it's that sort of approach and what I find, which is of more the bigger issues, actually, their Games Workshop reluctance to whenever they are pointed out that something is really what the. Did he pick the Discord Lady shoulder over the mixed next game?
Yeah, is that not the passing one, though?
This is the score. Is that not the strength -1?
That's the strength bust, isn't it?
Yeah. Wow.
That's interesting.
I think that might misclick, but so whenever
It might just be a case of you've got enough bank, you'll cut
get a new one anyway.
I think possibly.
Yeah, but I think the problem is, like, there's been loads of instances in over the years where Games Workshop have been shown and clearly, like, from the game base that rules, whether it be in fantasy or 40k or Blood Bowl, where things were like off the deep end, and they just frankly did not want to change it.
Yeah, I mean, like they for example, with the megastars, they know they're broken.
Yeah,
they could tweak them, and then if they're tweaked, like it's in GW's best interest to nerf star players, because then they will be allowed in tournaments. If they're allowed in tournaments, people will buy models.
yes.
Because if they're not allowed in tournaments, like they haven't been, like you know, no one has a model for Morg anymore, really, unless they already had one. Because who the hell's going to buy a model for Morg when they can't use Morg ever?
No, and exactly, and I think that's
Take an ogre model. That's what I do.
I mean, to be honest, you could just, if you took Mighty Blow +2 off Morg is fine. No longer a megastar. Completely balanced, completely fine.
completely overpriced. Like even with
probably is overpriced.
But
if you felt like it, you could take away Mighty Blow +2, give him just Mighty Blow +1, make him Strength 7. Why not?
Yeah. I think so just for funsies, we played the Talents Clash of Titans tournament, and I used Morg. And I would put it this way: there was one match where he was almost worth his cost, and the other matches he was nowhere his cost worth, because it's so expensive compared to what you can get as an alternatives that I can't see the problem with him, in all fairness. I think it's more people don't like the +2 because it makes your team when you're playing against them very squishy, especially against certain teams like the low armor value teams.
Yeah, that's it pretty much.
Yeah.
Mathemus for why Creek is a megastar. It's mainly due to tabletop. Creek is not a problem in perpetual setting. On tabletop, Creek being a strength 7, mighty blow, movement 5 ball and chain, that even if you get rid of it, says nah, and then comes back, is it's just like annoying to deal with, basically. Like, and it's quite strong on tabletop because the ball and chain is like Creek is quite cheap.
Creek is plain cheap. Every opportunity I could buy him for my Corn league team, I bought him. He's just that good.
Yeah, because like as long as you're using the ball and chain properly, which you should be with 5 movement. With 5 movement, like ball and chain is super easy to work around.
Yeah.
Like no one's gonna be getting anything except uphill dice. And I guess, you can just uphill if you really want to. But like with movement 5, you can realistically just like move it in and out and it's absolutely fine. But it's also just like movement 7 with movement 5 basically means that the ball and chain can just go and walk towards a cage. Like, and it will get there. Like, it's going to get into and smash apart part of your cage and doesn't need to use blitz to do so. That's the main worry about it. It's not very strong in any other capacity. It's just, strength 7, and it can move 5 squares. And then, well, it can technically move 7 squares, which is basically, I mean, that's anywhere you want to go type of territory, really.
Altor's going for it.
Yeah. But I think
Interesting choice there, I thought, just in terms of the gameplay. From both coaches, actually. So
Yeah.
I thought the Lizards had an opportunity to really squeeze the cage. Like, really squeeze the cage.
They could have had 2 dice on the ball. With the Crocs.
Yeah. No, I think the Crocs was... Well, was it marked? I don't know. But then...
No, because he didn't follow.
Well, I wouldn't be trusting a blitz to a Crocs anyway.
I would on a ball carrier that's got nothing.
Possibly.
No block, no dodge. Like, even a both down's absolutely fine in that scenario if you've done everything else.
But it was actually this gap that was left. So if the skink could have come over one more, then you've siphoned off this side, and then you got the Saurus the other side. So you're forcing the blitz on one of the skinks, rather than what I thought was going to be the blitz, which was going to be that mid Saurus, which was going to be with the claw. And you could swing round that way.
Chaos, you're allowing 2 dice on the ball here.
Yeah.
That's not ideal. It's 2 dice into 2 dice.
Unless, of course, your opponent does that.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh.
Oh, no.
No.
See, now, if that was the ball carrier, that result would have been fine.
Yes. A little sad, but fine.
Yeah, a little bit sad, but also fine. And also, like, well, that's just a turn ordering problem right there, isn't it?
Yeah. But in all.
Oh my god! Why is there opening up? What in the?
Sorry.
Can someone save me? What is going on?
I love Nuffle. I'm not laughing at the choice there. I'm just laughing.
I'm laughing at the choice. What in their? Who in their right mind decides that opening the turn with a 1 dice is the correct decision?
I'm trying to be nice.
I know you're trying to be nice. I'm not having any of it.
I would also say maybe not my first choice, but I can't blame the irony of that, and then this happening. That's the irony on a high level.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
it is. It hurts my soul though.
yeah.
But you know, I guess if both players are going to make mistakes,
Yeah,
at least it's both players making mistakes, right?
Take
Yeah.
the angle as well. That's nice.
that's slightly important.
Though I would have taken a different angle because like that could have gone to any Chaos player there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 3 options.
This is like it. This type of game, it reminds me of the stuff that I sometimes spectate on the ladder, which is just it's fun to watch. It really is. It drives me insane, but it's fun to watch.
Oh, definitely.
Please stand the skink up and just move it towards the ball carrier so that you can hit this warrior away.
I'm going to call dodge with the lizard.
Yeah.
No way. 5+ dodging. No way.
Pro. Got pro.
Always uses right player for the right job.
Push up. 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 Up.
That seems to be down. I'll be honest, I actually don't mind the push down.
Oh.
Because it's tagged by a skin. I think that's fine. Because they're not planning on scoring on a skink at this point. They're planning on scoring on the Saurus now.
Yeah, but it's their turn. The Chaos dude's just going to come in and block on the next turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to be able to have that assist, they
Can't argue with that call.
oh well, yeah, I guess but then the recovery is really poor.
Because you're not dodging with that lizard. You have to blitz that lizard out. You have to.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure he cannot be based by multiple players. If he's based by one player, that's okay. Because you can just get a skink in, you can blitz yourself out.
Over here. Oh.
Nice. Very nice.
It's one of those matches where like but why?
Right. Now I start to see a bit of the theory. Okay.
Okay,
Wasn't what I thought. Never mind.
I also thought that at least then there would be a block or something down here.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Ooh.
Oh God.
Oh, it's a door.
Oh God. No,
There
it's
you
been
go.
cruel.
you don't need to blitz yourself free if you're only tagged by one thing because of another double skill.
Let's try and call this block with the Crocs, who will both down.
This goes over here and he blitzes here and then runs off.
No. This is a Crocs block.
Yeah.
God, please no. Please no.
This is a Crocs block.
100% Crocs block, and then if it fails, they can blitz with the Saurus. That's free.
Could we at least then put this one over here so that we can not have to force him to push him in here?
I mean, that's a good choice.
I know. I think it's fine. Like,
Yep. we
it is
got-
a Crocs block. Let's go.
Oh. It hurts my soul.
I've been just
Man,
obviously Bisky has not been burned by Croxes.
No.
His Croxes must be incredibly well behaved.
He's dead. isn't he? Yes. Well,
This is a wild game.
it is a wild game.
So glad we're finishing on this one.
Yes.
That's great. Blitz with the ball carrier, blitz with the player, kills him, and runs off.
Yes.
Right now,
And,
I have to
and
say
fouling.
this.
And fouling there too. Wow. Because
There should be 0% chance now that there is dice on this ball. Surely.
I love the fact there's two Saurus standing up here. And one third up over here.
Oh my god.
Right, okay.
Echo that, please.
Oh.
not
It's
sure.
back for the next half if you APO it. Oh, okay.
The only reason I think he's possibly not done that is because he's already down. The other guy is Arcan's already down a Chaos Warrior.
Yeah. But I'm just
Why did they do the dodge?
yeah, like when you got 3 untagged Sauruses, and you pick to dodge here. I yeah.
Get another interesting choice.
It's yes. You say interesting. I say brave.
I will go with unique choice.
I love that we're all absolutely dancing around that.
Like at least go for the Hail Mary pass and then just blitz this one attack.
You cage dive if you want.
Yeah, well,
Go for the cage dive. Just do it. Yeah.
no, this makes sense to me at least.
Boo. This has not been in the spirit of the game that's been played.
True. It's not it's a atypical move for this match. But that's because now he can blitz and kill him. Is that not how it works?
No, you'll blitz with a skink.
No. You can get free dice.
Watch. Blitz with a skink. Oh, disappointing. Again, atypical.
One less obstacle. Sorry. Well, at least they're not.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Tell you what, that Saurus is worth an MVP.
So excited, my heart knew.
He's definitely MVP, regardless of whatever happens. He's the MVP. Wow.
This is the horrible bit about playing Chaos.
Oh,
Because I tell you what, the Armor 9 does not last.
no.
That's a lot of unusable Chaos people on the bench.
That's basically free dead. Like, strength down is dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You're not
it's...
keeping any of them.
No. Like a catcher or something like that, maybe you can accept a strength down, but anything more or less than that, no. What's that? 60?
I'm surprised you tried to APO the Warrior, because it feels to me like the team runs off the Minotaur.
Yeah.
So you probably want to save it for the Minotaur. Then again, though, guard on the Minotaur's an interesting choice.
So
This is a thing I struggle with. I actually struggle with Khorne because I'm desperate to take Khorne to a tournament just because I want to have some fun with them. But it's what do you put as your skills if you take a Bloodspawn? Because your Bloodspawn's your Blitzer, right?
yeah.
You're not going to blitz with anything else because the whole point of Khorne is you want to kill as many players and you want to make sure that you can steamroll them in the second half when they receive and you can just roll them over, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, so your Blitzer's the Bloodseeker, so you'll probably take block on it because you can have one secondary with a tier 2 team.
Supposed to remain neutral.
Who got the Knuckle Dusters? Oh, nice. Put it on the claw. Go on, put it on the claw.
This guy.
Claw.
He tried something, but what was it?
Put it on, okay, alright. I'd put it on the claw, personally, but... Okay.
Yeah. I think I thought it was the Lizardment, but definitely if you care, you should put it on. Oh.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so you then have the Khorne Gores, which are kind of like the heartbeat of the team. But I'm then kind of thinking, oh, what do I do with them? So you'll probably take some of your skill. You'll have a skill on the Bloodseeker. You'll probably have skills on all 4 of the Bloodspawn. You'll have skills on all the Seekers. You will most likely have to have Sure Hands on one of the Khorne Gores as a ball carrier or a lineman, because actually that means that you're not having an armour 9 piece behind a screen, and you can use that armour 9 to actually be a bit of a block. So what do you actually put on the corn gauze? Because apart from utility skills that will make your blocks better, like guard, because you're never going to block with them.
Tackle,
Interesting.
wrestle.
That might be a team I might genuinely try and play when it comes, UKBBL time comes to re-roll, because it'll come eventually.
Yeah.
I might try Corn, because they are just good fun.
Oh yeah.
You don't win many games, but they are good fun.
Wow.
So I found this mathematics. I played 2 seasons with Corn. I had a killer Corn Gore, and I had a ball moving Corn Gore. So the Bloodspawn was completely useless. Completely useless. I mean, this is true about the Mighty Blow.
Yeah.
I'll be blunt here. If you can't pick the ball, then what are you doing?
Oh, come on, Chaos, go and steam in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. He can get there as well. Not that one. That one can. Steam in. Go for it. He's going. Go on.
Oh, you gotta commit.
Got to roll it. Yeah.
Players can barely speak, Jim, let alone write. You should know.
Just gotta pour in at this point.
I mean, this is all desperation.
Yeah.
The game's effectively done.
Well,
You really need to rush that, I think.
three injuries and 2 KOs at the start of a half when you're down 1. You all or nothing at this point. There's nothing else to go for.
You needed to rush one. Personally, on that.
Yeah.
Lizards have just got a free run through. They can get Saurus back. They can blitz the guy off the ball. They can then go pick up the ball. They can then go back into their cage. Somewhere possibly over where you've got the mouse at the moment. Somewhere over there. Game's done.
True, but
You had to go. Surely you had to go one more.
Yeah.
See, this is what I thought would happen. So, this ball carrier off. You leave the Saurus there. After following up, you bring the skink in front to the ball. Probably 2 squares across rather than 1.
Might pull this one.
I'd have gone 1 more, because then you're not cutting off your route through. So you go 1 more.
Yeah, over here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pick up. So now he's got 1 less movement, and he hasn't moved his Saurus. So again, this is, like you pointed out earlier, just the difference in. I mean, we talk about it because we play a lot of Premiership games, and
Yeah.
obviously Evie, you'll play a lot of higher level games. But yeah, this sort of thing is just habit for us. This is not where I thought he'd go.
No.
But I thought he'd go over the other
But-
side because his Saurus already there. But
This is like just this, the order of what players that you're moving, where you're moving, and like that's like it doesn't look like there's much difference between what is played at bronze level or silver or platinum or diamond, right? Like it's technically the same game, right? And the decision is the same, but it's those small decisions every single time, whether it's like moving over here instead of moving in here, or getting that one over there. It's the sum of all those small decisions that really matters at the end and really tilt the game in one way or another. Yes, you still need dice to do some of the work for you, of course, but you can really sway a lot just by optimizing on those small things, right?
yeah.
Like just
I've done some coaching sessions with people, and I've had it where like we looked at a game and they were like, "Man, I really struggled in this," in this game. I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't really know what to do, and I was kind of just getting bullied. And then like we kind of went through it, and I was like, well, first things first, like you need to have a plan. Like your team versus their team, what you good at, what they good at, how are you going to counter them, so on and so on. And then it was just literally like turn 2, they made a mistake, and I was like, well, why did you do that? They said, oh, I did this to try and stop this and this and this, and then I was like, yeah, but
A snotling baked in a
do you
pie
need to
stands
stop
more
that?
chance
Who
of
gives a shit if they do that?
Yeah.
Like, if you would have just gone over here and did this instead, then all of a sudden you wouldn't have been in the position where you're, yo-yoing your team around and getting outnumbered and feeling
Yeah.
bullied all the time.
And
There's only one word to say about
like, whether it's what order you stand up your players in, or how do you secure a position, or I think especially towards the higher ends, what's usually seem most people struggle with is time management up here. Not the clock, but this time management, the management of the turns. At what turns should you be doing? Oh, doing what?
What? What? What?
I don't know. Something happened. Oh, we broke the push.
Yeah, I do owe you a coaching session, Rathamus. Don't worry, we'll get that sorted. I know I keep saying that we'll get this sorted at some point. I've been saying this for a while now, but we will get it sorted at some point.
What?
I should
It's
probably
like,
say something
what am I watching?
to all our Cabal Vision viewers.
Again, I don't want to see. I don't want to seem
No,
cruel, because these two people will be trying to play their best.
of course.
But that is an absolutely basic thing.
Yeah.
Please don't. I don't know whether it's a case of they don't know how it works. That's the only thing I can think of.
But
What actually happened, because I missed it?
So you pro the lizard.
Yeah.
It's a push and a skull. You have offered a
Oh, did they pick the push?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
Okay, yeah, that.
and it could be something as simple as they think that's the one I'm keeping, instead of it's the one I'm rerolling, right?
Yeah.
I think I think it's the chainsaw guy. Oh, there's a lot of snakes coming up here at the moment. I think it's the chainsaw guy with special rule where you get to reroll one of the dice, and it's UI makes it even for me. I still have to like double check every single time on what am I actually picking here? Am I picking the one I'm keeping, or am I picking the one that I'm re-rolling? And because I still
you pick the one you want to re-roll, right?
yeah
Because your action is to pro, so
Yeah.
you're going to re-roll.
yeah
To me, that just seems logical.
oh yeah
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Like, people interpret things in weird ways, and then it confuses people. Like I think I mean, I see it all the time on like Facebook and stuff, where people are just like asking these like crazy questions of like, I tried looking it up, I couldn't find any information anywhere. Can I stab a prone player? It's like, no, you can't stab a prone player.
I actually think that's a logical question.
I think that's actually a fair question, but yeah
I do think that's a fair question.
That one is more on the fair side, but there's a lot of other ones.
Get your point.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other ones where it's like much more questionable.
oh definitely
You can chainsaw a prone player. That's
yeah.
correct.
Yeah, but that's to do a foul though. It's the chainsaw is just an addition to the foul.
Yeah.
Whereas you can't stab foul someone.
I don't understand why stabbing is not a foul. I'm going to take this blade and I'm going to try and put it into your
But you can go
past your flesh.
but
But
it's
that's
also
okay.
but
The refs are fine with that.
yeah, no, I find it more weird is like, so we agree that weapons are not allowed, so hence there's secret weapons rules and everything, but apparently bringing a blade with you is not a secret weapon, and only some races have decided that it's worth bringing that blade. Not all races, just some, because clearly that is a very convoluted concept to sort of think of, that I can bring a blade and no one would notice.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like some like gutter runners, they carry their daggers and stuff, but I mean, they don't really use them
No.
in like a stab sense, but they still kind of use them.
No,
And,
but
like,
from the law point of view, you're not allowed to have weapons on the field. That's technically the rule according to the fluff, and that's why you're not allowed to have chainsaws or lawnmowers or other stuff, because it's a weapon. You're not allowed to. You can have armor on you.
Knives are nice and they're easy to hide.
So it's all like, but these people clearly apparently are stabbing, so clearly they must have a weapon. But okay, so the ref can't see it because it's a small weapon. Fair enough. But if small weapon can't be seen, then why are not all races using it?
Well, I mean, elves are too dignified to use a blade.
Well, they're almost too dignified to touch the ball, right?
And orcs want to just punch things and shoulder charge things. They don't want to be fiddling around with a tiny knife.
No.
They take the mick out of each other for trying to kill people with a butter knife.
Yeah.
It's always the sneaky, underhanded players that have the knives.
Yeah,
It's always the dark elf assassin, the hobgoblin stabber,
yeah.
the who else has knives? Like gutter runners technically have knives. But like also, where do you draw the line, right? Because you're like, okay, that player's got a knife, that player's got a bladed gauntlet. Like that's basically the same thing.
This is not a weapon? Are you telling me this huge metal ball with spikes on it is not a weapon?
But no, that's decoration.
Apparently that could be modified. Whereas a blade.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen the dwarf blitzers, and they've got basically a
Hammer.
big blade on the end of their arm.
Yeah. I also think it's something that they sort of opted for on a let's call it design graphical style, because like if you look at Blood Bowl 2, there's a lot less of, let's call it, blades and hammers and other like things that they're running around. They're much more like just gloves and stuff like that.
That's because the cosmetic system in that game was poo.
Well, I think it also was a design choice. I actually, in all fairness, prefer the lack of a weaponry style of Blood Bowl 2. There's a lot of things that I prefer about the graphics from 3, but I don't like the design choices of, like, especially if you look at the dwarves or the gutter runners, stuff like that. That's weaponry. Don't get me wrong, but that's weaponry. Stop doing that. That's have like.
Yes, I hate to interrupt. It's 11:15, so I'm going to call it a night.
Perfectly fair.
I think I'm going to call it too. To be honest, I'm shattered.
I will join the parade. I was going to say.
Yeah, go and play some lovely dwarfs on the ladder.
Yeah, I haven't played dwarves on ladder for the last 3-4 seasons. I think something like that.
That's good. No more dwarves on the ladder.
No, I opted to do Dark Elves instead because it's so much more fun.
Yes, correct answer.
Yes.
All right. Cheerio, everybody.
Cheerios,
Right.
and thank you for
Take care.
watching.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.